Hello, I'm Mark Childers, and on this episode of the Cryptid Crew Podcast, we are recording on location with not necessarily a Bigfoot believer, but with someone who's recorded something unexplainable. Stay tuned for this episode. Before we get started, if you've had an encounter, an experience, or just something unexplainable, shoot us an email with your contact information at the Cryptid Crew Podcast at gmail.com, or click on our Linktree in the description and share your encounter. I would like to welcome to this episode of the Cryptid Crew Podcast, Outdoorsman Alan Smith. Alan, I've been looking forward to this one. Glad to have you on.
It's good to be here.
I'm glad to have you. We've finally been able to get together. It's been about a year probably, hasn't it?
It's been a year or two.
Yeah. So, Alan has probably recorded in my opinion, one of the top 5 vocal recordings I've ever heard of a possible Bigfoot or Sasquatch. But before we listen to that, Alan, tell us a little bit about your experience outdoors and what you've done over the years.
Well, I used to live in Birmingham, Alabama, and I spent a lot of time camping. I would travel over to Fort Payne, Alabama, and go up in the mountains over there at the canyon, and I'd be miles away from anybody else. Sometimes I'd stay up there for a day or two. Sometimes I'd be there for a week or two or longer. And I've hunted, camped. I've been in the mountains, in the woods. I've been a lot of places all over the country. I've never in my life heard anything like what I heard that night. I've been around bears, mountain lions, coyotes, wolves. If it makes a sound in the woods, I've heard it. But I've never heard that sound.
I'll kind of preface the recording by saying that we're neighbors, and this is, as the crow flies, we don't live too far apart. And I guess we met up at the East Alabama Bigfoot Town Hall that I believe Stacy Brown Jr. and Connor Flynn, and there were some other people there. But I had left because I had a migraine. I left to go get some caffeine and decided to come back. And when I did, I think somebody was doing a presentation, and the lights came back on, and you guys stood up in the front and walked to the back. And I think y'all were just as surprised as,
yeah.
You know, I said, what are y'all doing here? And you said, well, hey, I think Wanda had said that you got a recording and would you like to hear it? And I said, absolutely. And I listened to it outside on your phone, on the front porch of that, community center. And you could tell by just listening to it, even out there on the phone with traffic, you know, with noise and people walking around, that it was organic. It was something natural, and it was not, not faked or anything.
Yeah.
Tell us what got you to the town hall meeting.
Well, I've always been interested in Bigfoot. I can't say I'm a believer that, you know, I know for a fact Bigfoot exists. I believe something's out there. There's just too much evidence to prove that it's out there. We just don't know what it is. And I never really put too much into it. I just watched videos on it here and there and maybe put thought into it. But the night I went out on the front porch, it was about 2:00 in the morning, and I heard it a couple of times. I heard the sound a couple of times, and then we got my phone and started to record in case it did it again. And the last one was so close that it literally sent chills through me. And I'm the type of person, I've never been afraid of anything. And that scared me.
Right. Have you heard anything? Did you hear anything prior to that? Any kind of noises prior to that night?
No, prior to that night, I've heard a lot of things, but it's always can be, contributed to, a possum or armadillo, things like that.
Right.
But I've never heard anything like that sound.
I'll tell you what, we're going to play the recording, and for everyone listening, what you'll hear is the front screen door open, or the front door open to the porch. And tell us, you had heard a sound previously, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you came back in, or you got your phone and then started recording immediately when you walked out. Okay. All right. Here it goes. That's just unbelievable. You can hear, about 15 seconds into the recording, you can hear a wood knock. Is that what you thought it was? Or a rock clack, or did you know at the time? What?
Well, actually, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even hear that at the time.
Okay.
I didn't even realize that I recorded that until I spoke to you and you mentioned you had heard something. And I went back and listened to it. And I listened to it 2 or 3 times. And sure enough, I could hear it.
All right.
And I had to hook one external speaker up to my phone so I could blast it louder. But I heard it, and that blew me away.
Yeah, no doubt. I can tell. I can tell by sitting here looking at you now. You talking about it, that it's that's something that you just don't experience. And that seemed like, how far away do you think it was?
The loudest one it couldn't have been no more than 50 yards away. So it would have been probably just inside the tree line down at the bottom of the property down here.
Okay. But I'm going to ask you this before I say something. Did it sound like more than one to you?
Yes.
Okay. I thought so too after I listened to the recording.
Because I heard 2 that sounded like it was a lot further away, way up in the backwoods.
Right. And
then I heard that one that was the loud one that was right there. I mean, if he had been daylight, I probably could have seen him through the trees.
Oh, wow. And that sound was so guttural.
Yeah.
So deep. We have a few bear around here. We have deer, fox, bobcat. I've had another neighbor mention seeing a mountain lion several years ago. But to me, there's nothing or no animal around here that would make that noise.
No.
Not whatsoever. And you're saying that you did not. So once you got outside and started recording, did you know what you was recording at the time, or did you just say, "Hey, I needed to get this on something just to find out what it is"?
No, I had no idea what it was. It just, when I heard it initially, it sounded funny. It sounded different. I never heard that before. So I started recording and thankfully heard it again. And I have tried to come up with different things that could have made that sound, whether it be animals or mechanical or human made by whatever means, I can't come up with anything.
Right. Did you do any research after that online or anything?
I tried to find other sounds, and I can't find anything. It's not to say there's nothing out there. I just can't find it. And I can't say definitively that is Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but I know it was definitely an animal, and it was not human. And that's the only thing on this planet that has ever scared me.
Wow. Yeah, that was about 2 a.m, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's transition into the analyzation of it. Maybe a month or two after the recording, I got you to send it to me as well. And I'd met someone, R. Scott Nelson, at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in Townsend, Tennessee, and let him listen to the recording. And he wanted me to email it to him. And I'll tell you what he said. He said it was no known forest creature, no deception, or fakery of any kind, and it was definitely not human. No language, but he could recognize. He's a retired crypto-linguist for the U.S. Navy. I believe he was with the Navy for 20 or 25 years, and has analyzed dozens of recordings. But after we emailed back and forth, that's the conclusion he came to, that it was, no known forest creature. Now, did you got it sent off as well, or you got somebody to check it out? Is that right?
The day we seen you down at the Bigfoot Festival, the town hall, I talked to Chris Price down there, and I emailed it to him, and he sent it to a friend of his and had it analyzed. And he took out a lot of the background noise and all that, made it a little clearer. But he even said that he's analyzed thousands of recordings, and he can't come up with anything that it could have been other than guessing it was Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
When I heard it for the first time at the town hall, Bigfoot town hall meeting, compared to listening like in your truck on a Bluetooth system, stereo system, it's pretty amazing. The sound, he did an excellent job of cleaning that up or whatever. I didn't hear it prior, well, I guess I did hear it prior. I heard it via your phone, but yeah, he did an excellent job of cleaning that up, because you sent back, I think you sent me the, version
Yeah, I sent you the cleaned up version.
Yes. So you have not heard anything since?
I haven't heard anything like that since. I've heard some sounds that I believe were probably owls.
We have recorded some, I guess maybe a week or two ago, across the creek here. Let's walk out. Typically on the podcast, usually everybody calls in, but this time we're on location, if I did not mention that before. And this by far will be my shortest trip I'll ever have to do on a podcast. Not even a tenth of a mile probably, but yeah, let's walk out here and we'll kind of describe to everyone, the direction and what's around. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're going to walk out here on the front porch, or deck where he, recorded the sound. And in the recording, you can also hear the doors or the door open, and Alan walked back out, with his phone to start the recording. But Alan, tell us, well, right now we're facing, I guess that would be kind of southwest maybe, or west.
Yeah.
probably. There's a creek that runs through. There's hardwood in front of us with some pines. And over to the left, now was that cut? Has that been logged by a logging company since then? Or was that prior to that?
No.
Okay. So that was already cleared off.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot remember that detail about that area.
Now the little house on the other side of the creek over here, the little block house, the land that's sitting on is a 16-acre plot that goes way back. Now they've done a lot of clearing and stuff back there over the last year or two.
Yeah, I noticed that clearing. But this back here, there's hundreds of acres that run toward Cusseta area. Yeah. Railroad tracks kind of border some of that, with very, for the listeners that don't know this area, sparsely populated, really from here kind of north towards, Roanoke, Wedowee, on up the Georgia line on both sides of the state line. You have, lots of woods, tons of water.
Yeah.
And plenty of cover and plenty of food, I believe, for something like that to exist and not be seen. But tell us, okay, once you walked out here, walked back out here, what direction was that, the sounds coming from?
I'd say southwest. It was back up toward the road crosses railroad tracks back up there.
Okay.
Back in that direction. Okay. On that back road. And right. the first two. And the last one I heard, like I said, it was no more than 50 yards away.
That's extremely close.
Yeah.
Extremely close. You can tell on the recording you had something in the distance, but the one that had the guttural sound to it, growl or howl or whatever you want, roar is what it sounds like to me. It sounded like it was definitely closer to where you were at. And then the wood knock, I'm assuming came from, but you didn't hear it at the time.
Yeah, I didn't hear it at the time. Of course, there was all kind of little possums, armadillos. They like going through the leaves out here in the edge of the woods. Sure. And it sounds like people walking out there.
Right.
I've had to go out there and investigate 2 or 3 times, just to find an armadillo rooting around. But I never heard the wood knock until you told me about it, and I went back and listened to it again. And then I heard it. But I may have just was focusing on that one sound and didn't hear the rest.
Well, you can tell in the recording as well. Your breathing got a little heavier towards the end of the recording.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll play the recording one more time for everybody listening right here at the end. And the road here it's not traveled a lot, some, but that time of night there's no traffic on this road.
No,
not at all. And like we said, there's plenty of cover, plenty of water, and there's plenty of food around here because there's tons of animals and people that farm.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we'll play this recording one more time. And, like I said, for everybody listening, about 15 seconds into it, you'll hear the wood knock, and then you'll hear the rest of it.
Yeah, the first two were the furthest away, and then that real loud one was close.
really impressive. There's just, I've played this so many times listening, and there's not, like you said earlier, there's nothing around here that should make that noise or make those sounds. And, but Alan, I appreciate you coming on and spending time and sharing your experience with me and the listeners.
I know they appreciate it, and I do too. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel out. And if you've had an encounter, an experience, or just something unexplainable, shoot us an email with your contact information at the Cryptid Crew Podcast at gmail.com, or click on the Linktree down in the description. Thank you for listening. See you next time, and God bless.